Great. So let's start off by talking a little bit about what is cloud. So cloud computing, often when you walk down the street and ask people, do you know what is AI? A lot of people are able to answer you sort of what is AI. And then if you ask people what is, for example, what is coding, a lot of people can also tell you what coding is. But cloud computing seems to be one that is often confused or perhaps very well scope in our minds because we use it daily to just a few categories, one of which is the cloud storage that we are kind of familiar with. You keep things in the cloud, some of these Drive and Dropbox solutions that we use. That is one of the services that's available in cloud computing. By and large, cloud computing is the on-demand delivery of IT resources over the internet with a pay-as-you-go pricing. This is a mouthful, but I'll break it down with analogy to all of us in the next few slides. Okay, but know that with cloud computing, now that we use cloud computing, instead of having to have huge startup costs for a lot of businesses, because they have to invest in the traditional way before cloud computing, they have to invest a lot of money to start up their companies by buying a lot of physical structures and systems and databases and servers to be able to start, say, a company to have a presence in the cloud, on the web. But nowadays, with cloud computing, all that is no longer necessary. So let me unpack for all of us what is cloud computing. We start off by using the analogy of a water well. In the earlier days, before we all have water pipe into the house, well, we live in a rural area and we will have a well outside of our house. The idea of the well, of course, is to provide water supply to the people living in the house. Now, a well would be rather costly to build initially. You want to build a well, you got to spend X amount of money to build that well without, in fact, knowing how long you're going to stay in the house, right? So number two is that you must also sort of decide how big a well you want to build. You're going to have water available for 5 people in the family, 10 people in the family, or perhaps 20 people because this is a huge family that's staying in the house or a few houses together. So you need to guess what is the capacity, or perhaps try to foresee and predict what are the demands in the future. Then you build a well of that size. The next thing is you need to maintain it regularly, not to mention the security of it, because you don't want anyone to come and meddle with the water that your family, your loved ones are going to drink. So you got to build in place some security, and also you got to maintain the well regularly so that your water supply to the family is well and good. Now that is how computing resources used to be. All right, to start a business, to have a presence on the web is actually not so easy because you got to find a server, you got to buy a server, which is not very cheap. And then you got to guess kind of how many people will be visiting my website if I'm hosting a website. Okay, I have X number of people is going to visit my website, but I think in a few months, there's going to be 20 times that amount of people. Then I'm going to buy a server that actually will be able to fit that capacity. And of course, you got to do your regular maintenance. You got to do the patches, the updates, and if there's anything that's broken, of course, you got to fix that. So that's the traditional way of how computing resources were deployed and how they were used. So now, in the modern society, we now have water pipe into our house. Okay, in the modern society, we have water pipe to our house. All we got to do is turn on the tap. You have water flowing out, and then you just use as much as you want. So in the model of water pipe in to you, there is no initial high cost to build that pipe. Yeah, there's a cost to have the little bit of pipe, and also the tap itself. There's a little bit of cost, but it's definitely nowhere near building a water well. And that's point number one. There's no high initial cost to build a water tap into the house. Number two, there is no need to guess how much capacity you're going to have to build at the very beginning. In the model of the water well, you need to guess how many people is going to need this water supply to the house. But now with the tap, there's no need to do that, right? You just turn on the tap, you use as much water as you want, you pay for the X amount of water that you use, and when you turn it off, you go for a holiday for, say, 2 weeks or a month, you don't incur any cost, you don't pay anything. And also, there's not much of a maintenance required in terms of the water supply that comes to you, because the water is well treated by the plant. It is just piped into you. Well, at most you got to perhaps clean your tap a little bit, wipe it down, clean it with a brush or things like that. But it's kind of very easy to do those kind of day-to-day maintenance for piped in water. And in the world of cloud computing, it is the same. So there is no high initial cost to start building a presence on the web, because you don't have to buy the servers. The servers are in fact provided by the cloud computing company. And then there's no need to guess the capacity that you need, because as you require, the services provided by the cloud companies like us, AWS, will scale as according to the demands that's coming to you at that point in time live. Also, there's no need to maintain anything, because in fact, the servers are not with you. They're all in the cloud. The company that provides this cloud service to you are the ones that's doing the regular maintenance to the actual infrastructure that you are basing your businesses on. Okay, so let's take a look at how this is going to benefit us. We are all familiar with Amazon. Okay, so Amazon, of course, is an e-commerce platform, and let's study a typical use case of visitors to Amazon.com and the traffic that it will be. All right. So in a typical November season, that's near the end of the year, we're coming to November real soon. What happens is that you will see on the left side of the screen that the demand. Okay, this spiky chart over here is the traffic going to Amazon.com, for example. In the early part of November, you see that the demand or the traffic, it's kind of standard and constant and quite stable. But towards the later part of November, it starts to spike slowly, all right? And the reason for that is because of human behavior. All right, towards the end of November, that's where we are very close to Christmas. And that's when people want to buy presents for their loved ones, need to buy supplies for the house. And that's why they come to e-commerce platforms like Amazon.com to purchase all the things that they're going to need in preparation for the season, the celebration of the year. So you see that the traffic is not consistent, isn't it? Right? Sometimes when there's high load, there is a spike, and then otherwise at times we don't have so much of a load. It's kind of stable. So if you are using an on-premise infrastructure, that is, you buy your own server and you set it up, and then you host your own e-commerce website from the servers that you have on your premise, you're going to have to buy a server with a high enough capacity, because you know that there's going to be a spike down the road. So you buy a server at that line over here at the top. That would be the provision capacity of the server that you will go and buy. And turns out, if you look and evaluate the whole situation, you're actually only using about a low 24% of the actual use case of your server and computing resources. The other 76 are actually sitting there idling and not used at all. And of course, then it goes to waste. But you have paid so much money at the very beginning to have to buy that provision capacity from the beginning. All right. Now with cloud computing, there's no need, because you don't buy the servers. You just use those cloud services that's provided to you. And what happens is, in cloud services, what we have features like auto scaling, whereby you see the two lines over here, they trace each other very, very nicely. It's because when there is a spike that is required, the cloud systems that we have, the infrastructure will scale up automatically to cater to the load on demand instantly. This is just like the water tap. When the request or the demand and the load is not so high, then you just don't have to turn on the tap so much. But when there's a lot of people coming to your house for a celebration on that day, and there's a lot of people drinking a lot of water, and you need a lot of that, then you just turn the tap a little bit, more, and then you get a lot of higher and faster water flow. So it's kind of the same, the analogy here for cloud computing services, where it automatically scale down when it's not, we don't have so much load, and automatically scale up when there's a lot of load for it. So that's cloud computing 101 for you. And Amazon Web Services, we are the world's most comprehensive and broadly adopted cloud platform, right? We have a number of value propositions, as you can see on the screen. If you have your businesses running on AWS, for example, you can go global in minutes with a few clicks of a button. You can deploy your business to other parts of the world, because we have a global presence. There's a lot of innovation that you can try to innovate. You don't have to buy very expensive startup servers and infrastructures like that. You just try, because we've got so many services for you. You just try to see if there's a new innovative product that you want to bring to market. You can try it out first for a low fee, and then if it works, then you scale it up. So there's also cost saving, because there's economy of scale here, because we have so many customers. Yes, we are able to provide economic cost savings to you. Plus, you only pay for what you use. This is a key point in cloud companies, that whatever you don't use, you're never going to be charged for it. All right, scaling up and down, I've just mentioned earlier on. As your business grows, you don't have to worry about having to quickly add additional capacity to your servers. That's not needed at all. And if there are other things that you need very quickly, say for a one-off event that you need some services, you can spin it up very quickly. That gives you the agility for your business to thrive and to be able to respond to things very quickly. We're very proud that this year, for the 11th year, consecutive year, in fact, we are the leaders in the Gartner's Magic Quadrant for Cloud Infrastructure and Platform Services report by Gartner. The QR code is there. If you'd like to read more about the report, please feel free to go and have a scan of the QR code to pull out the Gartner report. Now I've spoken a lot. I'd like to play you a video right now about what AWS is in general.
AWS is the world's most comprehensive and broadly adopted cloud platform. Millions of customers trust AWS to power their infrastructure and applications. Organizations of every type and size are using AWS to lower costs, become more agile, and innovate faster. AWS provides on-demand delivery of technology services via the internet with pay-as-you-go pricing. You can use these services to build and run virtually any type of application without upfront costs or ongoing commitments. You only pay for what you use. AWS gives you more services and more features within those services than any other cloud provider. This makes it faster, easier, and more cost-effective to move your existing applications to the cloud and to build anything you can imagine. From infrastructure technologies like compute, storage, and databases, to emerging technologies such as machine learning and artificial intelligence, data lakes and analytics, and Internet of Things. Building on AWS means you can choose the right tool for the job. For example, AWS offers the widest variety of databases that are purpose-built for different types of applications. With AWS, you can leverage the latest technologies to experiment and innovate more quickly. We are continually accelerating our pace of innovation to invent entirely new technologies you can use to transform your business. Like pioneering the serverless computing space with the launch of Aws Lambda, which lets developers run their code without provisioning or managing servers. And AWS built Amazon SageMaker, a fully managed machine learning service that empowers everyday developers and scientists to use machine learning without any previous experience. We are constantly expanding our global network of AWS regions, so you can access AWS services to build and run your applications from anywhere in the world. Each of these regions has multiple availability zones that are physically separated from each other and connected by low latency, high throughput, and highly redundant networking. This makes it easy to design and operate applications that are scalable, fault-tolerant, and highly available. Our infrastructure is built to satisfy the security standards of the most risk-sensitive organizations. You also have access to the AWS Partner Network, which has thousands of systems integrators who specialize in AWS services, and tens of thousands of independent software vendors who adapt their technology to work on AWS. With the largest community of customers across every industry, AWS has unmatched experience and operational expertise you can depend upon for your most important applications and every imaginable use case.
All right, so that video gave you an overview of what AWS is, and it talks a little bit about our infrastructure and on how the availability is maintained by the way our infrastructure is built. Now, I want to talk a little bit about why cloud skills matter. Why is it that cloud computing is important to me? Why is it that cloud computing is important for my company? Why is it important for my students? So you see, because of the value proposition of cloud computing, the migration to using cloud computing instead of the on-premise resources have accelerated a lot. And it's been made even more so because of the COVID pandemic, where now people are at home, more people use resources online. For example, you will be communicating with a family or loved ones or your friends more over the internet using cloud resources. You would be doing more online shopping because the physical shops were closed for quite a bit. And so that drove a lot of traffic to the e-commerce websites as well. In terms of schools and learnings, the schools were closed for some times, last year and this year, and then students were at home and they have to take learning online. That again relies on cloud computing services, and businesses as well. Like today's session, we are running it online virtually where everybody connect to it. Otherwise, it would very likely would have been a live event that we hold in an auditorium. But that's the future of how it's going to be, and cloud migration has accelerated and will continue to do so. And therefore, companies around the world are investing their future in the cloud. These are some of the companies that have invested in the AWS clouds. You might be familiar with some of these companies, and our coverage is global, as well as from small startups right all the way up to large enterprises, and even in the public sector on top of the commercial space that we are in. Okay, in our region, these would be some of the companies that we are quite familiar with. For example, in Adobe, that some of us used in the course of our work. And for banking services, Development Bank of Singapore has got a number of presence in our region. And very familiar with Grab. A lot of us will rely on Grab to either get our food or to deliver things, or perhaps just to get a ride to go from point A to point B. And Netflix, the entertainment service that we all love, the streaming movie service that we all love. That's based on AWS as well. And RedMart is an online supermarket provider based out in Singapore as well. So we are using AWS every day, but sometimes you just don't know that you're using it because it's integrated so well and it works so seamlessly that you're not even aware that you are in fact using AWS. And because so many companies have pivoted to the cloud, therefore there is now a huge requirement for cloud skills professionals to join the workforce to be able to develop all these systems. And the gap has just doubled in the past 3 years. And 90% of the organizations out there report that there is a severe shortage of cloud talents, and they're actively looking for cloud talents out there. And the IT decision makers also, did say also in one of the surveys that their team, the existing team, do lack the necessary knowledge about cloud computing for the company to be able to pivot to the cloud or to expand usage of the cloud. So this is the situation on the ground right now, and we expect that this is just going to continue to move in the same direction, the same trajectory, where there will be the demand is just going to continue to increase. And of course, as with the laws of economics, demand and supply, with now the huge demand in cloud computing talents, the payment, the salaries and remuneration for people with certifications in cloud, and in particular AWS certifications, of course, will move in tandem with that. So in all these many reports that you see on the screen right now, if somebody has an AWS certification, then he or she can expect to be quite well sought after. And of course, the corresponding salary range is the same, would be similarly favorable and good for them. Okay, these are just more reports that we have gathered to highlight that there is really a shortage out there, and coupled with that, the salary has gone up correspondingly. Okay. So we're talking about certifications here. I would like to introduce to you the 11 certifications in AWS that a person can aspire towards collecting. Okay, why do I say collecting? Because often having one, you will be addicted to go and take another one. All right, so there are 11 over here, but let me talk about this a little bit more. We encourage everyone. It doesn't mean that you need to be a builder in AWS to go for the cloud practitioner certificate. This is a foundational certificate. If you are a business decision maker, if you lead a company, if you're a team leader, all right, or you're just curious about the cloud, this is a badge for you. This is a certification for you that you may want to consider to take, is the cloud practitioner certificate. And then moving one level up would be the associate level. There are 3 of them over here: architecting, operations, as well as developer. So you have heard terms like SysOps and DevOps. So this is the level that we are at. Minimally, if you are looking for a job in the industry and you want to do a little bit about SysOps, for example, this would be the certification that you want to aspire towards. The Solutions Architect Associate certification is very popular. It teaches you about AWS Cloud and how to architect based on the framework that we have and the best practices. Okay, moving one level up, we have the professional certificate. This is definitely the highest tier that we have, right above associate level. And if you're looking to be a team lead, for example, in a team of solutions architects, or you're going to be a DevOps engineer or leading a team of DevOps engineers, the pro level is certainly something that you want to consider getting for yourself. And then on the right side of the screen, we've got a few specialty certifications there, covering all the way from networking to data analytics as well as security. So in total, there are 11 AWS certifications out there that a person can aspire towards getting certified in. So how does this work is if you want to get a certain certification, you will have to study for it. There are free online resources available, which I'll talk about in the next slide. And after that, you can register yourself to sit for an exam. Okay. There is a fee to pay for the exam, for sitting the exam. And when you pass the exams, then you will be certified with all these badges, whichever the examination that you have set for. Okay, and then you will have links. You will have a presence in Credly where you get to see the digital badge, and at the same time you can then link it to perhaps say your LinkedIn profile to brand yourself that you have been certified in a certain way. Okay, so I was talking about the resources that you can use to learn about all these certifications and get yourself prepared for it. So these are the few available programs that we carry just for education purposes for people of different groups. So we talk about AWS Academy first. Now, AWS Academy is an in-school program. All right, the institution would be a part of AWS Academy, and then the training, the instructor-based learning will take place, will be instructor-led by the teachers in class within the school or institution or college, university or polytechnics. So that's the AWS Academy program that we have. The first one on the left is an in-school program. Now, we also have another program called AWS Educate. AWS Educate is a self-learning resource for all students. So if you go to the website that you see over here, awseducate.com, you can register for an account for students only with a .edu domain email. You can register for an account and start browsing and learning the cloud content available in AWS Educate. All right. In AWS Educate, there is also a job board that you can look for cloud-related jobs around the world, across the world, and you can put your resume there to be connected with a potential employer. So that's AWS Educate. So Academy is an in-school program for students. Educate is a program for people to self-learn for students. Now, AWS training and certification team has also got a website, aws.training, and that's training for everyone. So you're the man on the street. You are a professional already, working professional now. Yeah, you can register at aws.training, and then there are many free resources there, official from AWS, that you can have your training done to learn about AWS. Okay, so I highly encourage all of us to explore some of these because, yeah, just to get yourself knowledgeable about what cloud is, and the choice is yours. How far you want to go? How much do you want to learn? Right? If you just want to know about a quick overview of what cloud is, then there's level 100 courses and materials that we have for you. If you're interested to dive deep and learn a little bit more, level 200, 300, or perhaps even 400, that's also available at aws.training. Okay. Next up, we're gonna do a bit of a demo. So sit back and relax. So first, allow me to introduce to you what is shown on the screen is the Aws Management Console. This is the place where people go to log in when I tell people that I'm using AWS and I'm building something. This is more or less most of the time the place that I go in, the console that we use to build whatever solution that I want to build. And if you look into the list of services that we have, it's a ton of it. Today, we've got more than 200 services covering all the way from compute to containers, to storage, to robotics. There's also machine learning and AI. There is also AR and VR that is covered. We have also recently launched a couple of services like those in blockchain and satellite system, as well as even quantum computing via the service Amazon Bracket. So this is a whole list of services that we have. Some of them are very, very easy to use for beginners. Some of them are a little more difficult. Regardless, it would be great to know some of them. Yeah, if you know all of them, that's awesome. But knowing just some of them will be great. So I just want to point out a few of the key elements for cloud computing and AWS in general. Number one is EC2. Now, EC2 is Elastic Cloud Compute. What EC2 does is it allows you to spin up a virtual server. So in the analogies that we were talking about earlier on, virtual servers, right? So EC2 is what allows you to spin up a server, a virtual server, not a real physical server, but a virtual one in the cloud, whereby then you can use it your way. You want it to be a game server, you can configure it to be a game server. You want it to serve as a file depository, a cloud storage for people to then pull things off it, you can do so. You want it to host a website, you can also configure an EC2 instance to do that for you. Now, we also have the S3 storage. The S3 is the simple storage service. It's a service, cloud storage in general, right? For you to store a lot of things that you have that you may want to make available to the world, or perhaps if you want to keep it private, that's also fine. Okay, so this is S3 service. So these are the two big services that we will want to know about AWS, the EC2 as well as S3. Okay. The third one I want to share about is Lambda. So Lambda, it's interesting. Why? Because in Lambda, it is serverless compute. That means there's actually no server at all. All right. We talk about on-premises, and then we talk about virtual servers. But for Lambda, it is a service that allows you to completely not have any server to deal with. So you basically just write your code. It's in the cloud. When it is caught, it will be executed, and then you will be charged based on how much of the execution is used. So that's AWS Lambda, which brings us to the serverless compute arena. Okay, so today I will be using a service called TextRed. But before that, I would like to show you a file to give a context on what we're trying to do here. So imagine that you have written an article like that. Okay, handwritten, perhaps a letter. Okay, in this case, this would be a story that's written by a child. Okay, it says, do you like your job? Is your job hard or easy? And then it goes on to talk about what the child would like to do next time. Oh, he'd like to be on the plane serving people and go to all these countries, as you can see on the screen. Okay. So now, if you are, say, a parent or a teacher and you need to come and mark the work for the child, what do you have to do? The traditional way is you take a pen and then you start reading and you try to find where are the spelling mistakes. You try to in fact, comprehend what the passage is talking about, right? But now, with the use of AI and cloud services, we can actually do it very quickly. So I'm going to use Amazon TextRed. And what TextRed does, it will automatically extract handwriting and text, as you can see, from the document using machine learning. Now, this is important because extracting text from documents is not new. We have been doing it for many years now through the use of OCR, optical character recognition. But TextRed is different. TextRed is based on AI and machine learning. So it's a lot more accurate than the traditional OCR method of extracting information and data and text out of a handwritten document. Okay, so this is a sample. Like if somebody fills in an application form like that, all right, all this information, we can use TextRed to very quickly pull out, and you can see these information are all pulled out from this sample that's given. Okay, so now you remember we had this case, right? The story that I showed you. So what's going to happen is I'm going to throw the essay in here. And then TextRed will do its magic and pull out all the text that it's able to find. So you see, even right at the top, star, written compositions, example of line page, is all extracted over here, you know, in an instance, using the power of the cloud. And it will pull out the whole passage that we see, right up all the way to the very end. The last word is, I should stay strong. So I should stay strong. And then we also have this at the bottom, students may not write outside of the box. So great, so we have extracted all these. And then what you can do is you can download the results. And so here it is, I've got my results. And then you see when you open up the zip file, the response that's given to you, you can have it in a JSON format so that you can continue to work on it with other services, or you can have a key value pair in a comma separate CSV format, comma separated values format. But I'm interested in the raw text. So I've just opened up the file, the raw text. So you see, this is exactly the information that was extracted from this handwritten piece of work. All right. Earlier on, we have put this out. They're all in the still in the console, but now it has come in the form of a text file, which is super handy. Okay, so that's great. Now with these, there are of course a lot of things that you can do. You can print it out, and then it will be a whole lot more legible. You can say send it out in an email to somebody to share this story instead of sending a picture. All right, but I'm going to use another service now to show you what we can do. Okay, so I've got this file here. I'm just going to keep it at the side. Now I'm going to use another service called Poly. So Poly is our text-to-speech service. And this is an example over here. I'm going to play for you to hear.
Hi, my name is Joanna. I will read any text you type here.
Okay, so this is a place where you can type your text. And I'm going to copy and paste the whole chunk of text that we have from the passage earlier on, right? And then you get to choose, I want it to be read the British way by Emma, a female. Okay, so let's listen to that.
Star written compositions example of lined page. Do you like your job? Is your job hard or easy? Is it the job you wanted as a kid? When I grow up, I would love to be a flight attendant so I can help the passengers and also to see new places. When I help the passengers, I will ask them if they need snacks such as peanuts, drinks, chips, salads, and other food that I can serve them. I can also help them if they have any questions about the flight or if they need something else. Helping people is fun, and it is very kind. While I'm on the plane, wherever the passengers go, I will also go, and almost every day I will see new places and meet new people. I would go to places like Russia, New York, Guam, China, and Japan. When I meet new people, I will learn what they eat and what they do for special occasions. I will see new things like what they clean and eat with. Seeing new places is exciting and you can learn new things. Helping people and seeing new places is fun and it can teach you something new. When I'm a flight attendant, I know I should stay strong. Students may not write outside the box.
So Poly is able to read out the text to us, okay? And you have a choice of the language to use, the voice that you want to select. But I want to draw your attention to a few things over here. Number one, did you notice that there's a spelling mistake for some of the words here? Passenger, right? That's spelled wrongly. And I'm going to bring back the article, and you see passenger was indeed spelled wrongly. Correct over here? And attendant is spelled with only one T, but it should have been double T. And it's also spotted over here. You can use the other word processors to pull out all these spelling mistakes. But what I'm trying to highlight is that when you listen to Polly earlier on, Polly was able to understand and read this as attendant and read this as passenger.
Star written compositions example of lined page.
So let's hear that again.
Or easy. Is it the job you wanted as a kid? When I grow up, I would love to be a flight attendant so I can help the passengers and also to see new places.
So you see, Polly is smart enough to know that even you have these little typos and spelling mistakes in your text, it's able to then also read out to you how it's meant to be. Okay. Now, what are the use cases for this? I give you an example. There is a company in Malaysia that publishes books, okay, for kids. So what happened is that they understand that there is also a market where people prefer to have the text read out to them as they read, especially for young children when they're learning how to read. It helps when they are being read to. Okay, it will be best if the parents can read alongside the child for sure, but often the child may also prefer to hear from different people, a male and a female, and different pronunciations from different parts of the world. That's where Polly comes in. So this company allows people to buy the books and also to have it to have the option to download a read version of the book. But what's super unique about this company is that you get to put your child's name in there. So your child becomes part of the story, along with some other names that you want to put, and you can customize if this is a story of a boy or a story of a girl, and you have the same story but customized to the child. And because of that, you cannot have somebody reading out the book and recording the speech of the readout of the book. That's not possible. So they used Polly to be able to read this out. And then you see there's a download over here. So the company has all these built in so that the people who provide these books from them is able to download an audio version of it so that their child can listen to and learn along the way. Okay, now let's take this a little further. I'm going to take you to yet another service that we have, but I'm going to show you the public-facing part of it. So this is an AI service demo that my colleague will go into details later, but I'm just going to dive very quickly into a service called Comprehend. You will find the same Comprehend service within the Management Console, but for simplicity, I'm just going to use this today because it will pull out the required information in a more friendly manner for us to see. Okay, so now I am at the part whereby I have this whole text, right? And I'm going to bring up the text again. And my service demo is over here. So what Comprehend does is, it is an NLP, natural language processing service, that will be able to extract insights about the contents of your text. So we all heard the story earlier on that the child wrote about him wanting to fly around the world, to be able to serve people peanuts, for example. So Comprehend is a service that we can use to pull out all this information so that you don't even have to read the text. So let me show you how it works. So I've got the list, our text over here, and then I'm just going to pull out the story. You can pull the whole thing, of course, and then you put and dump it in there. But I'm just going to pull out the story part of it. Okay, so I'm going to copy that and put it into our text box over here, and then I'm going to let Comprehend do its magic. And when that's done, you see the results on the right, and we're going to go through the results now. Okay, so is this text positive? The tone of the text, is it positive? Now, there is a 70.5 chance that this passage is actually quite positive. All right. And what about negative? Is it any negative? Yeah, it's about 0.2% chance that this is a negative text. And we have read the text earlier on, we've heard it, and we know that it's not a negative text at all. All right. And it's about a 28% chance that this is a neutral passage. Yeah. Because this is, so that's kind of high at 28%, because this is not a passage about somebody that's super happy about what's happening, right? It's somebody talking about his ambition and where he hoped to see and the things that he enjoy. So comprehend is able to tell us the sentiment of the passage. That's key. And at the same time, comprehend is also able to pull out some of the entities within the text. So for example, we have interesting places that they can see, right? And then they can go to places like Russia, China, New York, Guam, and Japan. And these are all pulled out here because these are entities. Russia is a country, it's an entity. China is one. New York is another one. And then you are also given the information as to where did these texts appear. So if you want to do some post-processing with this information, you can absolutely do so. And then there are also key phrases that you can also pull out some of the statistics over here. And also some tokens, like for example, we found the word like at a certain place, and like in this case, it's a verb. Okay, and then there would also be like a job, which is a noun. So this helps an English teacher, for example, to be able to pull out some of the information so that he or she will be able to teach the child in a more efficient manner. Okay, and remember, all these can be done without you having to read the passage at all. Let me do a quick recap. Okay, first, we use the text extract service to be able to extract the text, right? Given a written piece of work, we use the text extract service to be able to extract the text, to convert it into a computer format like that, correct? Now with these, we went to the next service called Amazon Polly. And with Polly, we are then able to throw this into Polly, and Polly is able to read out to us. This is text to speech. So you can perhaps just listen to the passage of the person of this passage on the go, right? While you're driving, for example. So we use Polly as a second service. And then the third service that we use here is the Comprehend service, which I use via the service demo, where in Comprehend is able to use NLP to be able to pull out some insights of the document, like the sentiment analysis, whether it's positive, it's neutral, or negative. It tells us the entities that we found that are in the passage, for example, the countries. And then there are also some key phrases that will pull out, and also some of the words and where they are, the nouns and the verbs and things like that. So all this information, it's available. And as you can see, there is no need to wait for a long time for all these to be processed. It's all available via a browser that you see that I'm using. And very quickly, you're able to get all these results. And you can then use the result of all these services in the ways that you might see fit. If you're a teacher, you may want to use it as a way to quickly help you in your marking. If you're a parent, you can perhaps use Polytext to read out to a child. Or if you're a company looking for an innovative solution like the one I just shared, this can very well be built into a product that you offer to the market. And then there will be a buyer for it because you now serve a very special and a unique problem that is not solved by other companies before. Okay, now great. Thank you everyone for your time. And I'm going to now hand over to my colleague who will continue with further demonstrations. Thank you.
Hi everyone, can you hear me?
It's loud and clear, Danny.
Okay, my name is Danny and I'm actually one of two program managers with the Education to Workforce team. So for now, I'm going to be doing a demonstration on a very cool service called Amazon Recognition. Let me just share my screen. Okay, so I believe Ricky has shown you the management console over here. And actually, if you on the same search bar that Ricky demoed to you earlier, if you just type in recognition, note the spelling, it will actually bring you to this page. Okay, with Amazon Recognition, you can identify objects, people, text, scenes, and activities in images and videos. At its very core, the Amazon Recognition service provides an API that you can submit images or videos to. You can then instruct Recognition to perform specific analysis on the media. And actually, under the hood, Amazon Recognition uses deep learning and machine learning. And the wonderful thing is that Amazon has already done the training and hence the heavy lifting for you. I believe JV asked in the chat if there were any machine learning services, and I'm very pleased to tell you that this is one of them. Okay, let's look at this image over here. This is a sample, okay? Recognition can determine with 98.8% confidence that there is a car in this image. And look, if you hover over the image where the Recognition thinks that there is a car there, it actually spells it out for you, right? And besides, you know, the obvious things, there are a lot of other things that they can detect, like for example, a skateboard. That Recognition is 94.3% confident that there is a skateboard in this video. And you and I know that indeed there is a skateboard. Okay, I'm going to drop like a link here for you to try this on your own. Okay, I've dropped this demo on the link in the chat here. Feel free, you know, to go to it. It's web-based, so you can upload pictures and photos and videos. I mean, I think it's only images currently, and then you can have a better understanding of how that works. Okay. So for those who are more technical and want to find out how Recognition works on the back end, you can put in a request programmatically and you will receive a JSON response. Well, JSON is actually JSON and it's actually an open standard file format and data exchange that uses human readable text to store and transmit data objects. Okay, in the case of Python, you'll receive a JSON response and then your JSON library package can unpack your response and make do with the information that Recognition passes back on to you. And moving on to other features, we've got something called image moderation, which means that Recognition is smart enough to identify issues, images or content that is inappropriate. Like for example, suggestive photographs or suggestive images as such, and it would automatically blank it out or blur it out for you. Okay, moving on to the next feature called facial recognition. This one is pretty cool and it's got very deep analysis as well. Recognition is able to tell that it is a face. There is a face in this image and it appears to be female with 99.3% certainty. It is also able to give you an age range, you know, so it will be able to tell if it's a young person, middle-aged person, or an older person. And even the range of emotions seem to be detailed as well. This person appears to be happy, and I think you and I can agree that this person is smiling, wearing glasses, and appears to be happy, right? I just want to touch on this very quickly, but this is quite cool in the sense that, you know, if you upload pictures of celebrities, it will be able to tell you who the celebrity is. And over here, wow, it's a 99.7% match only, but I can tell you for certain 100% that this is the chairman of Amazon, Jeff Bezos. And this is Andy Jassy, who is actually the CEO of Amazon right now. Okay, I just wanted to go back here and show you a bit more about facial analysis. So if you've got like more than one person in the photo, they will be able to separate the images and tell you detailed analysis of what each profile is and looks like, and even with the emotions again. Okay. Finally, for face comparison, it's pretty cool. It will be able to tell a reference face. For example, if you have a reference face on a photo and then you compare it to another photo in which the person that you identified is not taken in the same way, it's able to tell you on the right hand side here who this person is in the other photo. And I think this is pretty cool. So recognition can identify the same people in two different images, even if they're not taken in the same way. Okay, and finally, recognition can also pull out text from images. So if you see this image, the text says it's Monday but keep smiling. It's immediately the result. Recognition can pull the text only on the right here. Okay. Yeah, well, this is basically my demonstration for Amazon recognition. I hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you. I will now hand the time over to Valerie.
Thank you, Danny. All right, everybody. Let me just turn on my web camera. Then I'm going to share my screen. Give me a minute. Let me press share screen. Okay, are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, that's great. Let me turn on share sound first, just in case I forget later. Okay, thank you so much, Danny, for the comprehensive sharing about Amazon recognition. And I think that if you want to find out a little bit more about the different use cases on how recognition can be used in like different corporations, different enterprises, you can always, type it here and then have a look and read like how the different companies are using it. So to have a better understanding, but of course, this is more for those people who are keen in the cloud industries and as well as like have some basic technical background. Okay, so let me dive deep into this. All right. So at AWS, we always want to say to let curiosity be your compass because you can build almost anything and everything with AWS. Okay, so here are some of the commonly used services in projects. I believe Ricky just now has also mentioned Amazon Elastic Compute Cloud, which is Amazon EC2. He also focused a lot about the auto scaling and how it's actually a virtual service, which companies nowadays, they don't need to buy any more physical servers because they can quickly spin up a server on EC2 and quickly shut it down if they no longer need it. All right. And then we also have another common service, which is AWS Lambda. So AWS Lambda is actually an event-driven serverless computing platform that runs codes in response to events and automatically manages the computing resources required by that code. So what I mean by that is, for example, just now Ricky actually showcased, was it TextTrack? Yeah, TextTrack is not here, but it shows how he can actually pull that amount of words from the picture filled with a composition. And then if you pass it onto Lambda, Lambda can set up like a trigger and it will automatically pass it to, transcribe? No, Amazon Poly. Yes, he used Amazon Poly. So many services, sorry. Yeah, so TextTrack to Lambda to Poly, it can be an automated function if you set up the event trigger in Lambda. So that's the power of Lambda, and a lot of not just students, not just developers, but almost every company out there will use Lambda because it's serverless and because it acts like a middleman where you can connect the different Amazon services together. So here are some of the more commonly used services. For example, Amazon Lex, which is our chatbot. And we also have Amazon Alexa, which acts like a virtual assistant AI, like how you connect the different smart home devices together. And we also have the service that Danny just showed, which is Amazon Recognition to do image and video analysis. And we have many different services. Okay, so I just want to show you an example that was built by students. So at AWS, we regularly host events. So one of such events is ASEAN 100. So in this, the winner was actually this two guys who built something called Dr. Robo. So what is Dr. Robo? Dr. Robo is actually an on-demand prescription dispensing prototype. So you know that usually when you go to the hospitals, you want to collect your medicine, typically you have to wait like quite long. Because, you know, depending on the traffic of the day, for example, if you have 30 people in front of you, then you could have wait like maybe an hour or so before you can even collect your medicine. So using AWS technology, incorporating the IoT button, Lambda recognition and all, they managed to build these really cool solutions, which I will show you a little bit more. So basically, as when you stand in front of this machine, you take a photo using the phone camera, and then your photo will be detected by recognition. And then after that, recognition will look for your photo and match it to the image database that they have. So it's like your hospital records and all, you know, if they have a photo of you, if they can identify you using your name and all, then they will pull out the records. So for example, today this doctor prescribed you with a particular medicine. Then they will retrieve the medicine information and then they will dispense it accordingly. So you can see the different cups here. So all these are built using Amazon Web Services. And yeah, it's really very, very cool. If you want to read a little bit more about the different kinds of services they use, as well as how intensively they use them, feel free to read on more. Okay. So next, I also want to show you this Amazon Alexa video to show you how people can really make a difference in our people's life, you know, in the society by building on AWS. Okay, so I have quite a lot of tabs here. Let me look for the right one. This is the one.
I am totally blind. It's been 8 years this December. I went through every single room and reorganized it so that I knew where every single thing was, because in my house, I was not going to feel blind. Alexa, what am I holding?
It looks like Tea Forte World of Teas.
But when you have other people in the household, things get moved all the time. Hi, Brett.
Hi, Stacy.
Ready to go?
I guess so.
All right, let's go test it out.
Okay.
My job is to help people with visual impairments and to see how technology can affect people's lives and make them feel better about what they do on a day-to-day basis.
I lost my vision when I was 10 years old. I'm a stay-at-home dad, and I do a lot of cooking, and there's a lot of things I can't see.
The whole idea for Show and Tell came about from customer feedback, actually. Challenges around identifying things in their pantry. And we thought, yeah, we can do this. We can help here.
I'm going to give you a product, and then you're going to say,
Alexa, what am I holding?
Let's see. It looks like 365 everyday value. Macaroni.
Great. That's awesome.
I think that's garlic powder.
Wow. That's impressive.
It's critical for us that we're working with our customers, building with them, not just building for them.
they really need our feedback to tell them what we need.
You'll hear sounds to help you position your item. It looks like organic canned pineapple.
Whoa, is that what it is? Oh my gosh.
All these devices that are acting as your eyes, I think it's very revolutionary. For me, the less stress I have to put on somebody else is less stress on me. And it makes me feel good.
Yeah, so that's how Amazon, as well as the Amazon Echo Dot or Amazon Echo devices actually helps to improve people's life. Okay, so
hello everyone. Good morning, good afternoon,
I think I forgot
good evening.
to press.
I'd like to introduce the ultimate 2-in-1 Surface.
Yeah, so sorry about that. Okay, so as you can hear from the video, right, they actually talk a lot about how customer feedback was the reason why we built things. And this is actually very true at Amazon, or be it AWS, because actually 90% of our services or products are built based on customer feedback, because customer says that they need it, customer says that they want it, and that's why we built it. Yeah. So let me show you the Amazon Echo device. All right, so in Amazon Echo, we have this whole series of devices that you can see on the screen. So from like deep lens all the way to Echo speakers, which is the Echo Dots, and all the way to like tablets or Echo Shows, which was what was shown in the video. We also have smart lamps, which is called Echo Glow. And we also have frames, which is your spectacles, that's called Echo Frames. And we also have Echo Buds, which is like your earpiece, but wireless. Yeah. So this whole series of Amazon Echo devices are actually built with Alexa inside. So what is Alexa, right? So let me just click. Okay, Amazon Alexa is actually a virtual assistant AI that recognizes your speech and then process it using machine learning and natural language understanding to translate it and do the different services. And then once your request goes in through audio, they will process it and they will reply to you through an audio or through an image, depending on which devices you are using. Okay. So how do you build on Alexa, right? We have this thing called Alexa Blueprints, which is quite easily accessible if someone wants to build on Alexa. So let me just show you. Yep. So as you can see on Alexa Blueprint, there's already many different skills being built. For example, having like a game to find out whose turn it is, how many days. So you can actually like tell Alexa, please set a timer for 10 seconds. And then Alexa will start to set a timer, or you can tell Alexa to count down, or you can tell Alexa to remind you in like 5 days time, or to add a particular thing into your to-do list. Yeah, and you can also ask it very cool questions like, what's the weather like today? Or you can ask it very generic questions that can be typically found on the internet, but just so happen that you cannot access the internet, or you cannot access your phone or your computer. You can do it via audio and easily tell Alexa what you would like to find out. So on this blueprint, you can actually build many different skills, and it's even suitable for kids because it's really very, very simple. This is different from the management console that you see here. So this is the real Amazon console, but this blueprints.amazon.com is like an additional site that we made so that it's very easy for people with not much technical background to get started building on Alexa. Okay, so feel free, to start building anything that you may want Alexa to do for you. Okay, so just now I also mentioned deep lens. So deep lens uses like Amazon recognition to capture certain images, and because of those images, then do something with it. Okay, so yeah, let me pull out that video. Oh, I haven't put it out yet. Give me a while. But it looks right. This video will actually show you how someone actually built using deep lens to capture certain images that prevents the cat from re-entering the house.
My cat, Metric, he is playful, he's adorable. Look at this, he's a perfect cat in every way, except for bringing in dead and dying animals into my house. His favorite time to do it was 3 in the morning. Started to really cut into my sleep. People were like, you should just lock your cat in all night, but he poops exclusively outside. I barely have to clean his litter box. I decided that what I needed was I needed that cat door to lock only when he is trying to bring in dead or dying animals. This doesn't exist. There is no cat door that does this. And so I was talking to my engineer friend, and I said, maybe I could hire an engineer to build a machine learning solution, because I knew that machine learning and computer vision could do these sorts of classification tasks. And he said, Amazon has made it pretty easy with SageMaker, and there's a deep lens camera. There are these tools out there that are so user-friendly that you could learn to code and do it as your first project, which sounded really hard. I'm not an engineer. I didn't know how to code. There was a lot of questions as to whether I would be able to pull this off. But, you know, I had a problem that kept recurring, so I thought, I'm going to try this. The locking mechanism was the easy part. I just put it's called a solenoid onto the cat door. So it's basically just an electromagnet that shoots out and locks the door. So I just needed a signal that said lock. And I attached it to an Arduino, and I could do that on command. That part was easy. The hard part is how to get the lock to know when to lock. So I mounted the deep lens camera above my cat door. I think the first moment that I really believed that I would do it was when I got the camera mounted, and the first time that the deep lens camera sent back an image of the cat ramp, I was so psyched, and I was definitely like, this is gonna work. One of my favorite things about the deep lens camera is that it's got a specialized computer on board for running image processing. So the cat metric only takes 2 seconds to come up the ramp, and so I couldn't, you know, go to the internet and back. I had to make the judgment right on the camera, and it does that in less than 250 milliseconds. It can take the image, process it through all 3 stages, and then render a decision about whether or not to lock the door in super short time. Basically, the most important part is just giving it lots and lots of examples. So if you want something that can detect pictures of llamas, you just give it lots and lots of pictures that are labeled llama and a bunch of pictures that are labeled not llama, and just feed it into the software, and then you'll get a model back that can, if you show it a picture of a llama, say that's a llama, that's not a llama. So I needed a detector that could tell when my cat was trying to bring in prey, and so I spent months gathering and sorting and labeling over 23,000 cat images. Just day in, day out, tagging images. No cat, cat, cat on approach, cat with prey. And then finally I had enough images that it was time to go and build some models. I fed all my images up to SageMaker and built 3 models. The first model just asks, is there a cat? The second model says, is the cat leaving? Or if the cat is coming up the ramp, it calls this third stage, which asks, is it cute metric or is it murder cat metric coming in to ruin my night? If he is in killer mode, locks the cat door. Second of all, texts me and sends a pic. And third, donates blood money to the Audubon Society. The model has been running for about 8 weeks. Innocent metric has been unfairly locked out once out of 200 entries. Murder metric has been blocked 5 out of the 6 times he's tried to bring in prey. I got an 83% effective solution using only 230 images of metric with prey, which most specialists will tell you is a pathetically small amount of data. But because I got all the images using the deep lens in the exact spot where now it's running classifications, it didn't need to generalize at all. So a really small data set could get me the performance that I needed. I feel really grateful that such powerful tools are available to somebody like me. It's changed the way I see myself. You know, I thought at 35 I'm too old to learn to code now, but the Python community, the AWS tools, they've really made it so user-friendly, so well supported that you really can do complex, amazing new things. And what matters is the idea, the motivation, to be able to make some really cool things.
All right, so there is Amazon Deep Lens. Okay. So before we move on to the next segment, I wanted to do like a Kahoot because I think a lot of you all have been into like many contents right now and you know might get a little bit like drowsy. So let me just pull out the Kahoot thing, okay? Just give me a while. Okay. So the game pin is actually, let me see. Yeah, is 6797580. Yeah. I hope you all can see my screen. There's only 5 questions, so it's very simple. Okay, I'm also going to go in, but I'm not going to play. All right, let's wait like a few more minutes for more people to join. After this Kahoot, right, please PM me if you're the winner so that I know how to identify you, because I don't know how to identify short form names. It might be a little bit difficult for us to match on the back end. Yeah, so try to PM me after if you have won like the top 3. Okay, let's give it another 1 to 2 minutes or so. I see that people started to rename yourself to the full name. That works as well. Yeah. I think for those that joined in the live stream session, it might be a little bit difficult for you to PM me because you are not in the Zoom room, right? But if you are watching the live stream and you won this Kahoot, please, I'll put my email in the slides. Then you can email me. Yeah. Okay, so I'll start the Kahoot now. Give me a minute. Okay, so the first question is, what is cloud computing? Okay, so cloud computing is the on-demand delivery of IT resources and applications via the internet. All right, so let me move on to the next question. Jay is at 864 points. Okay, cool. So the next question is, which of the below refers to the ability to instantly scale up or scale down according to business needs? So it was in the value proposition slide that Ricky actually shared. Not sure if you remember. Yep, is the elasticity. Okay, so Jay is still at the top. Okay, well done. All right, so the next question is, AWS can be found and utilized in which of the following industries? Is it banking? Is it media? Is it education? Or is it all of the above and many more? Where do you usually see AWS in? Wow, everyone got it correct. That's great. That's excellent. All right, Jay is still at the top. Okay, the fourth question. How many industry recognized certifications does AWS offer? I think Ricky covered this also. Yeah. It was a very unique number that we always do when it comes to sales. Yep, there is 11 of them. So previously we also had a little bit more, but we put those down. So now there's only 11. Okay. Yeah, Jay is still at the top. Wow, congratulations. Okay, so for the final question, what can be done on Amazon recognition? Okay, it should be fairly simple as well. This was covered during Danny's portion, but if you notice on the sidebar, you will actually see everything that is there. That's great. Everyone answered correctly as well, so that's good. Yeah, so let's take a look at the leaderboard. Congratulations, Rafida and Yusuf Ashraf, as well as Jay. Congratulations. So let me take a photo before I forget. Okay, nice. All right. So yeah, congratulations to the 3 winners. Please, PM me on Zoom chat if possible with your email address so that I can contact you and give you your little prize. All right. Okay, so let's move on. Let me just close this Kahoot. All right, now that we have finished the Kahoot quiz, there's another video, but I think we can skip it. Yeah, so going back a little bit more to what Ricky mentioned just now, Amazon also focuses a lot on skills training, and we have this pledge to help 29 million people around the world grow their tech skills with free cloud computing skills training by 2025. So in Ricky's slide just now, it shows you Aws Educate, Aws Academy, as well as AWS training and certifications. So depending on what kind of profile you are, you can go on there and, learn all the different cloud computing knowledge that you will need to prepare you for the workforce. Okay. So I just want to cover a little bit more about what we do on an educational level basis, because that's where our team primarily sits at, because we see the importance, of upskilling everyone with cloud computing due to the huge demand in terms of the jobs and in terms of the industry, how cloud is really largely needed, which I will show you a little bit more later as well. So Build on ASEAN is actually one of the hackathons that we hold in 5 ASEAN countries in 2020, where students, form a team of 3 to 5 members, and then they write a proposal. And if they are shortlisted, they go on to build a prototype with credits given by AWS, and then subsequently, compete and pitch at the national or company finale with one another, and we'll see like who's the champion, who's the first runner-up, etc. So these student teams also get an opportunity to do full-time or internships, depending if the company shortlist them and hire them. All right, so I will show you a little bit. Okay, maybe let me talk about this slide first. Okay, so this year we also held Build On, and actually it just ended. The Vietnam one ended 2 days ago. So remember just now I said 5 countries, but actually we have expanded since. So we now also cover Cambodia, Pakistan. We did Myanmar last year also. Vietnam. Yeah. So 8 to 9 countries. Yeah. So this year, something special that we added was a huge array of workshops, right? Not just tech, but also business workshops that I will show you how you can get access to later as well, because we did record everything. And, we hope that people will continuously go and learn, and more people will find out about the different workshops available for them for free. Okay, so let me just go on to the portal. Wow, there's so many websites that I opened. Okay. Yeah, so this is the website. And this is for this year. Like I said, it's already over, but you are able to click onto workshops, and then you can actually go and watch the different recordings from Python course all the way till like AWS services, like, you know, teaching you how to deploy your web app using a different range of AWS services, how you use database programming. All right, because today's session is really very foundational. Is really just to share with you what is cloud and how is it booming, and how, you know, you can leverage on the different resources to build on a cloud. Okay, so I'm just going to play a video about what Build On is, so that you can better understand as well. Okay.
We actually created a visitor management system to be as real-time as possible, make it convenient for administrators to easily crowd control.
Our project is an extension to chat application to fight fake news and misinformation.
MediBlock is a cross-platform application for storing, accessing, and sharing electronic health records of patients.
So without further ado, I think let's kick off the presentation.
Thank you for the opportunity given to our team Golden Matrix.
We are semester 2,5 from Indonesia.
We are Team Hackathon.
Let me just demonstrate. So this is a Straits Times article. If I want to share it to my friend, our solution really checks on the back and pulls out all the information: credibility, biasness, popularity, and sentiment.
The ultimate system is Athena.
We are the web application where you can find the delicious and quality street food.
We are highly confident that Opstura has a sustainable business opportunity.
Introducing MediBlock, a cross-platform application that leverages the Amazon managed blockchain and Amazon Texttrack web services. Meet Collab, your all-in-one toolkit in the cloud.
We want to use AI technology for predict the risk in advance.
Introducing AreaLife, ASEAN's first healthcare crowdfunding application, and many more.
The sensors will scan the surrounding wristband to get the wristband ID and send it to AWS IoT.
There were many areas of inefficiencies that could have been easily resolved. We created our solution with 3 new innovative processes: easy entry, easy monitor, and easy exit.
We are proposing a solution for a challenge of misinformation and impediments.
The champion of Build On ASEAN 2020 goes to Team BLMNK. Congratulations! You're the first champion for Build On ASEAN 2020.
Just wanted to say thank you to AWS for inviting us for this opportunity to learn. We are very grateful to have this opportunity to participate in the regional round.
Our team actually have picked up a lot of skills along the way, especially using AWS. So we're actually very grateful that we're able to put our AWS skills to this solution that can help the community.
The key learning point for this experience was really to manage our time, because we were handling different commitments such as school and our personal commitments.
My favorite part was actually building our prototype, working as a team before any presentation. I honestly found it a lot of fun exploring the problem statement, seeing what kind of solutions we could come up with.
One of the biggest challenges that we face will be juggling between our studies as well as other competitions that my team actually participated in.
The biggest motivation to join AWS Hackathon is to get the chance to solve a real-world problem.
Definitely, I would encourage my friends and classmates to participate in Build On 2021, as my team actually had a very enjoyable hackathon experience.
I will definitely join the hackathon again, and for me, above all, I really appreciate that I got to learn more about AWS.
See you in Build On ASEAN 2021.
All right, so that's the video for Build On ASEAN. I just wanted to also share that the projects that the students build are based on real challenge statements. So what I mean by that is, for example, if you just click onto any of our country's challenge statements, you'll be able to see that our challenge statements are actually all by real companies like Carousel, Cognizant, NUHS, etc. So we partner with those companies, and then these companies will also mentor the students during the competition. And we will also send solutions architect from our side to mentor the students so that they are well prepared in terms of the competition. Okay, so yeah. The next point that I want to talk about is the virtual career fairs, right? Because after, we train students, after students apply their knowledge, they will need to then, have somewhere to apply them, right? So the place to apply their knowledge is actually at events like hackathons or like jams or many different areas like in their school projects, etc. And then after they are trained, we will try to bridge the talent supply, which is the students, with industry talent demand. So as Ricky shared just now, this industry is really lacking a lot of cloud skilled talents because like when I'm in my age, right, when I was back in Polytechnic, coming from a business background, I didn't know what was cloud computing. I didn't know that a career in cloud was possible. Back then, I didn't even know actually that, Netflix as a company, they actually had built on AWS using the virtual servers and whatnot. I thought, they had their own servers, etc. So a lot of things like that wasn't known to me in school. But moving forward, as a company, we are also trying to address the skills gap, and which is why we have been going to many different institutions to share with them about our free education programs. Yeah, the most important thing is that our education programs are all free, except when you want to take the certification. But yes, okay, so let me see. Okay, so before I move on to the next segment, I just wanted to say that cloud skills is really very crucial because before this webinar, I actually went on to search, for example, Singapore, right? My career's future, what is the jobs available? And then if you type the word like cloud, you will see that actually there is so many jobs available and they are really transparent in terms of their salary range as well. And definitely the cloud industry pays quite well. And if you were to take a look at the individual job listings, you will also see that cloud certifications are really important, right? Not just our company, but all cloud companies out there, their certifications are all valuable because all these certifications are industry recognized, and which is why we encourage people to take them. Okay, so yeah, maybe let's move on to the next segment. So I wanted to invite Danny to talk about this segment because before he joined our team, he was a recruiter at Amazon. And as you know, at Amazon, we have so many leadership principles, which is how we actually hire new talents, be it full-time jobs or internships. So yes, Danny, the floor is yours. Please, talk a little bit more about that.
Okay, thanks, Val. Let me just bring up the Amazon leadership principles, okay? Just give me a few seconds for that. And then I'm going to share screen. Val, can I take over the screen?
Yeah, just pass it to you.
Okay. So everyone, when I joined Amazon, there were only 14 leadership principles. But ever since Andy Jassy became our CEO, our new CEO, we've added 2 leadership principles. We have now 16 leadership principles. And the 2 newest leadership principles are strive to be Earth's best employer and also success and scale to bring broad responsibility, which is basically a tick for sustainability options here at Amazon. And the reason why we decided to add in the Amazon leadership principles in this conversation with you is because at Amazon, we actually hire based on these 16 leadership principles. For every job role that is out there, the hiring manager would actually decide on the leadership principles that are most important to the role. and candidates are assessed according to whether they raise the bar on these leadership principles or if they lower the bar on these leadership principles. And what I mean by that is there are questions. Interviewers have questions like, say, for example, if there was a role and customer obsession is one of the most important leadership principles to be assessed, interviewers actually ask questions based on customer obsession. And typical questions could be, when was the last time you went an extra mile for a customer? And if you're a young person, you can think of, what you have done in your internship experience or even in your school project work, what you have done above and beyond what you are required to do in your project work, for example, or in your assessment. If X is what was required for you, but you handed in something that was a quality of X plus Y. So leadership, every time when people ask Amazonians what is the most important leadership principle, a lot of times people will say customer obsession, and it is more or less true. Well, internally we don't have a decision on which one is the most important leadership principles. All of them are important, but then customer obsession is very high on the list, because I think that was how the company was built. It was built because of Jeff Bezos' relentless focus on customer satisfaction. And this is seen throughout all our work, be it here at AWS Web Services or even in our e-commerce delivery platforms, where we always have this saying in meetings that we work backwards from our customer. And I can also share with you about how this customer obsession leadership principles is exercised during our team meetings. Whenever meeting in person was possible before COVID, we would actually bring in an empty chair in a meeting to demonstrate that the customer is actually present with us, and we make decisions and we make important decisions based on the customer's benefit. And this was how we exercise leadership principles in terms of bringing customer obsession to life. Okay, and the other thing I wanted to tell you about leadership principles is everyone that we hire at Amazon is a leader. And what I mean by that is, if you have been deemed to raise the bar on these leadership principles, working backwards from that, it will also mean that you are a leader based on raising the bar of our leadership principles, right? Yeah, so we believe that everyone that we hire is a leader, not that you have to be a people manager, not that you have to manage people, to be a leader, but you are a leader in terms of raising the bar on our leadership principles. I hope you get what I mean. If you don't, feel free to, ask me a question, type it on the chat, or you can leave it till later when we have questions and answers. Okay, so in summary, what I want to tell you about leadership principles is, if you ever find yourself, interviewing for a job at Amazon, please come to this website and just Google Amazon leadership principles, and then this website will be one of the top ranking pages on your search, and look at the leadership principles and come and try and think of it and provide examples that would speak to the leadership principle that you are actually reading and finding more about. Because I can guarantee you that you'll be asked. If you're interviewing for a role as a fulfillment associate, for example, I am pretty sure customer obsession is going to be one of the most important leadership principles that will be tested at the interview stage. So think of examples, because the interviewer will ask you for examples that speak to the leadership principles. And the more you elaborate on your answers with examples, and the more you provide data points, it would be helpful for your interview. So on that note, I would like to end my very short sharing on the leadership principles, and we can move on to the next section.
Thanks a lot, Danny. That's a really very insightful sharing. Yeah, and I can really attest to that. Personally, I think I've prepared about 1 to 2 stories per leadership principle before going for the interview, because yeah, it's really, really very important. I think this not just applies to jobs at Amazon, but it also applies to jobs elsewhere. Yeah, so I think it would be good if you can take a look at it as well. Okay, so let me share my screen. Yep, so just now I forgot to share with you about this, but this was our virtual job fair that we held I think early this month, yeah, 8 and 9 September. So we work with different companies to post their job postings, and then we held this session whereby people, you know, will come, and then these students, after going through our boot camp where we train them for free on like the basic cloud foundations as well as associate level architecting, we then push all these participants to actually join this virtual career fair where they can look for job opportunities. All right, so this is just some of the things that we do in our team. Yeah, so I would like to end off today's presentation by Ricky, Danny, and myself to say that, you know, it's always still day one for us and for all of us actually at Amazon and Amazon Web Services. And we are continuously thinking what to build next for our customers, what are the problem areas that we can resolve. So I just want to end today's presentation by asking you a question. You know, what will you build? You know, if you have access to AWS console, you know, what will you build in the future for the benefit of, you know, the society, or what will you build to improve the lives of your family and friends? Yeah, so that's the end of our sharing for today. Please help us to fill in the feedback form here. I will also put in the link to the feedback form in the chat box. So now, given that we have about 23 minutes left, I just wanted to open the floor to question and answers. So feel free to ask us anything that you're curious to know. Okay, so in the meantime, let me put the feedback form in the chat. Okay, so yep, there you go. Okay, so yeah, that's really all. If you don't have any questions, feel free to drop and get back 20 over minutes of your time. So I hope that you have a good dinner later and, you know, have a good night's sleep. But yeah, for those with questions, feel free to ask us anything that we can help to address your questions. Yeah, if not, if there is no questions, then we will be ending this session in about a few minutes time. Okay, thank you.
Hello.
Yes, hello.
Yes, Yusuf Ashraf here. I would like to ask if the features that your team have demonstrated previously, is that a paid service or is it free to use?
Okay, good question. All right, so Yusuf, maybe you can let me know if you are a student or, you know, you are working already, or yeah, what's your profile like?
I'm a student at UBD. Yeah.
You're a student. Okay, that's great, because if you're a student and if your institution is on board to our education programs, Aws Academy, then you would have access to the lab environment. Okay, because your educator can then spin up lab environment for you to explore the different services. But of course, on AWS, we also have this thing called the free tier account. So let me just pull it out, okay? So what I mentioned just now was actually the student account, but we have another thing called the free tier account, which is open to anyone who has a credit card and wants to apply, right? So to create this account, you will actually have to put in your credit card details, and then you'll be charged on a pay-as-you-go model. But of course, we understand that, sometimes you need to try it before you believe it, or you need to try it before you know that it works or not. Or sometimes, as a startup or what, you might just want to use some of the services to test if AWS is suitable for your company. So that's why we have this free tier account as well. So in this free tier account, you'll be able to see what are the services available for free and what's the duration that they're free for. So for example, Amazon S3, we offer you 5 GB of standard storage and this amount of GET requests, this amount of PUT requests at the 12 months period. So just, before you apply for this account, before you put your credit card, please, look through and see what are services that are offered for free to prevent like charges on your credit card as well. Because given that you are a student, just might want to take a look at that. But if your institution is on Academy, then that will be even great, because that will be even better, because your educator can actually reach out, and then they can join Academy, and the educator can also open learner lab environment for students to explore. But of course, not all the full set of services are available on student accounts. There is some restrictions. For example, let me give you an example, right? So for example, if you are using EC2, the Elastic Compute Cloud, and then you are doing a very intensive project that requires 2XL instances, which is super huge instances that typically a student won't really need unless they are doing like some master PhD course that is very data driven, or you are like a big corporation that requires so much instances. That's why in student accounts, we cap it to like large instance only. But if you are looking at like XL, 2XL, the upgraded version of Elastic Compute Cloud, then that's not available on the student account. And which is why people, or the general public or companies themselves, if they require such a huge compute instance or many other different services, then that's where they create a commercial account. Yeah, I hope that answers your question. And if your institution is currently not on AWS Academy, feel free to let your educator know, and then if the educator is keen, then we can share a little bit more with the educator about what is Academy, as well as how to get started, so that, because all our education program is free, right, it will not only benefit the educator, but it will also benefit like all his or her students lah. So feel free to drop me an email after this. I'll put our team's email in the chat box as well. Okay, so I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, Valerie.
Thank you. Okay, is there any other questions? I cannot answer technical questions because I'm not in a technical role. Yeah. Okay, if there is no questions, then I'll close the room in about 1 to 2 minutes time.
Can I ask, because I asked previously in the chat, how does AWS build a broad range of products based on customer feedback?
Yeah, we didn't publish anything publicly, and we didn't, there is no public resources on that. But what we do, on a regular basis, on a day-to-day basis, when we interact with customers, is that we do listen. We do a lot of active listening when customers tell us what is the issues that they see, what is the things that they hope that they can get, or how they can help to build this, or like what is the latest technology that they want to see, or like what other features that they need. For example, right, like EC2, there is maybe no, sorry, not L, but like there's a very small instance to like a very huge instance. I think our max is 2XL. But if one day, a customer tells us, hey, I think 2XL is not enough for me, I need a 3XL kind of instance, which is super, super, super mega huge, right? Of course, we will not immediately tell our technical team to, hey, go and build 3XL our customer need. But what we will do is that we will then listen, and then we will feedback to our global team, and then we'll tell them, hey, this customer actually, needs a 3XL instance. And why he or she needs a 3XL instance is because they want to do like this supercomputing, what is their use case? And then our leaders will also ask us, oh, so how is the demand like in the market? Did you speak to other customers? Are they also in need of 3XL? Blah, blah, blah. So we need all these data points to justify, and as well as anecdotes, right? We need stories, real stories to tell us what the market wants, because we don't want to build something that the market don't need, because it would then be like a white elephant put on the shelf that nobody wants to buy. So that's why we always listen, we feedback, and then we come back to the customer to tell them, okay, so your feedback has been submitted, and in the meantime, well, this has not been done yet. Can we explore any other options? And then on the back end, our team will also look at it and see if there's any similar examples. If the market really needs it, we will build it. Yeah, so I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, and just to add on to Valerie's point, we also collect feedback, and we take it very seriously. Like, Val has also put in the feedback request. So we'd like each one of you who have attended this to go and provide feedback based on the link provided, so that we can make this better next time. And this is a perfect example of how we work backwards from our customer, especially on feedback. Yeah.
Thanks, Danny. Yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Well, because I thought like also the accelerators and the other programs were also like ways to like figure out like what products and services like industries need also. Like through like different audience channels, something like that.
Yeah. Definitely. We don't just rely on one particular channel or one particular resource on this. We definitely do look at the broad spectrum, which I myself won't really know what's the full overview, because I'm just, one employee, but I can assure you we definitely do consider a broad spectrum in terms of feedback, in terms of the accelerator that you mentioned, which, I also not really aware of.
Yeah, so I've just done a Google search, and then I found out this article which I put on the chat. You can go to the link, and our Global Head of Enterprise Strategy says that 90% of our roadmap and features is a direct result of customer feedback. So if you're interested, feel free to click on the link and read more about it.
Yep, super interesting.
Thanks, Danny. I will have a read about it later as well. Yeah, it's just so big, like the way that we accelerate and drive innovation. Yeah, that I cannot possibly know everything. But yeah, I'm really thankful, to also be in an environment and in a team where we support one another, like in situations like this. So I think working at Amazon is really fantastic. And if anyone wants to apply, review our leadership principles and feel free to apply away. And remember, it's always day one for us. And think about what can you build and what will you build for the future. Yeah. Okay, so is there any other questions? Right, we are very close to 6:50.
Sorry, Val, there's a question from Facebook. But I think you may have already mentioned to that question. Someone is asking, where can they try out? Is there a particular link for that free tier you mentioned?
Okay. So there is a link. So if you just go to the internet search, right, and then you type AWS free tier, actually it will pop up lah. So it's just this URL that you can see on my screen. So it's like aws.amazon.com/free.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you. I totally forgot about the live stream. Luckily, you mentioned. Yeah, thank you so much.
Hello.
Yes, hello.
This is not related to the program, but rather to the feedback. I'm currently doing the feedback, and there's some events that I haven't participated yet. So what should I do? It asks,
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll jump in on
from-
this. So there's a drop down to the events. There are 5 events. So you may just select AWS Innovate on the Cloud. And then when you click next, it'll bring you to the specific fields required for the feedback form. Yeah. So just click the drop down button. I participated in, right? Then there's a drop down. You click AWS. I think it's one of the options there. Yeah.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, I still have got the same problem. Yeah, I still got the same problem.
Okay, let me maybe just come in to help you with this. Maybe I'll just share screen.
Okay, I will stop my share screen.
So if you see this, right, you can key in your email address. Right, and then you can just select this and you click next. It'll bring you to this. Are you able to see it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can just fill up this part. Once it's done, then you go on to the last segment of the. There's actually just 3 segments that you have to fill up. Then, that's about it. You get some exclusive information or perks after you submitted the feedback form. Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, sorry, I still got the same issue. I still got Scape Entrepreneurship Essentials for some reason.
Okay, are you using a mobile phone?
I'm using a tablet.
Okay.
Windows tablet. Sorry, Windows tablet.
Yeah, it's at the bottom, so you may have to hover, to the respective. Yeah, it looks like this, right? So you click on that and you can see. Yeah. Right. You have a few options here. Just make sure you select AWS. You should be able to see it. If not, you may want to select the view as desktop mode if that's affecting you, because I'm not sure if the view option is issues.
I picked it already, but I still got the same issue for some reason.
Yeah, no worries. You can drop me a text separately. After the session, I will reach out to you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jaren.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions?
Yeah, maybe one question, because so many youth have benefited from your Build on ASEAN program. When would the next one be? And perhaps you could share if there's a timeline or they can look forward to.
Yeah, sure. So let me just try to share my screen again. Oh, I think you need to enable screen sharing again. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, so in terms of build on, typically it happens in the summer holidays period. I think because primarily our target audience for this event, which is students, are most free during this period. So it'll be like May to August, September, depending on the year basis. So it can be like May or it can start from June. So typically this hackathon will last for about 1 to 1.5 months because there's different phase. So like you first learn, then after that you will register, then you submit your proposal, and then you will build your prototype. So depending on which phase you are shortlisted at or eliminated at, then it's the duration of the hackathon for you lah. But I would say, yeah, it's around this timeline, but we do have many different events that we support across the year. But this is our flagship event that has been held since 2019. Yeah, 2019 or 2018. Yeah, so I think our presence can be found in other events also, but maybe in other events we are like a supporting role. So for example, like ASEAN Say is a tripartite collaboration with AYO as well as Scape. Yeah, and then AYO and Scape also supported our Build on ASEAN. Yeah, so yeah, just keep a lookout. We do have many different events across the year. Yeah. But this is our flagship one lah. And then our virtual career fair is typically held after the hackathon, so that we can try to garner everyone to head to the career fair after they have gained all the skills, applied their knowledge, test all their skills, etc. So we do have other ways of applying your knowledge, for example, AWS Jams, as well as AWS Game Day. But those are really super technical. Like it really tests you on your AWS skills, building on the management console itself. And that one, it can be solo or it can be like a team effort. But this Build on Hackathon, it also covers a little bit about the business aspect to it. So it's kind of different compared to the rest lah. Yeah, so I hope that helps the students and you better understand. Yeah. And then maybe for next year, we are also exploring if it's possible to have an open challenge statement instead of, you choose from the company. So besides choosing from the company, maybe you can get to create your own challenge statement, create your own kinds of prototype, because on AWS side, right, we actually have many different startup programs available as well. So I'll take this time to share. Okay, so we have one called AWS at Start. And then recently we also launched AWS Accelerator, I think. And then, okay, so for XStart, right, it focuses on education technology. For example, your learning management system, for example, your attendance tracking system. So if you're a startup and you want to apply for grants, AWS credits, this is where you go. And we also have another thing called AWS Activate. So in terms of AWS Activate, it's more broad base of coverage, whereby it covers more different kinds of industry startups. So there's different tiers as well. So like if you're just starting out, then maybe you apply for the founders. If you are, already like starting to make money in your startup, or like, you are like Series A or what, then you might want to apply for the portfolio one. So a lot of these are actually available on the internet. So yeah, you can have a think about it. So hopefully next year, when we launch Build On, we include the open challenge statement. We hope that a lot of teams will then take their idea to fruition, because we're always here with you as well. Like when you apply for Start or whether you apply for Activate, besides giving you the credits and all, right, there's actually a team that will support you by having office hours. So if you face any technical difficulties, you can ask them, and they will also organize events such as gathering the different startups together to brainstorm, to share ideas, to network with one another. And they will organize like marketing activities, which covers really a huge spectrum lah. So if you're a startup, you are in good hands, be it Activate or at Start. Yeah, so that's our plan. And also that's what we want to share with students out there, is that, if you have a dream and you want to build something, I think there's many different platforms for you to do that and for free as well. Yeah. Thanks a lot, Jaren, for asking that. Yeah.
Awesome. Right. I believe they're all looking forward, and I mean, it's great that you're also including them into the whole brainstorming and then solutioning process for next year's Build on ASEAN.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Jaren. I think we are at 7 o'clock. Just nice. Time's up.
Yeah. Great. So yeah, thank you everyone. We're now